Welcome to the Creator's Adventure, where we interview creators from around the world hearing their stories about growing a business. Today I'm talking with a creator who's learned how to prioritize happiness and about how you can do the same with your work without feeling that you have to jump into every single marketing trend you hear about. My name is Brian McAnulty. I'm the founder of Heights Platform. Let's get into the show. Hey everyone, we're here today with David van Ooijen, a guitar, ukulele, and shamisen player. After touring the world and performing in different countries, David now teaches guitar in person and online, and he is known by his pupils as Meester David. David, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ryan.
So my first question for you, David, is what would you say is the biggest thing that you did or that you are doing that has helped you achieve the freedom to do the things that you enjoy?
Practice. As a musician, that's a very simple answer. I enjoy playing, but yeah, I can only play if I practice. So I practice every day, and that makes me do what I want to do.
Awesome. Yeah. Just being very dedicated to your craft. So, how long have you been playing?
I'm 56 and I started around 6 or 8 years old, I'm not sure. Where I live in the Netherlands, when I was young, I went to music school. I learned about, around 6 or 8 years old, I learned about notes and about rhythm and about melody. They gave me an instrument when I was very young, ukulele, and I learned a bit on that. And then finally, and I think that's when I was 8 years old, they gave me a guitar, and I never looked back, as they say. So from then on, I just played guitar.
So, what would you say like drew you to these specific instruments? Was it just that that's what you were exposed to very early?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I knew I wanted to play guitar. When we were very young at the music school, you had the option of either play a recorder or this ukulele thing. And of course, I was not going to play recorder, come on. And so it was a ukulele because I knew I was going to play guitar anyway.
Mm.
My elder brother played guitar, but I'm not sure that was the deciding factor. But then, and I enjoy playing guitars, and that is fine. When I was around 11, we moved city. So I moved guitar teacher. And that's when my career, if you like, really started, because he took an interest in me just as a person, as person to person. He said, when I was 12, and David, what would you like to be later when you grow up? I said, well, I want to be a guitar teacher because what you are doing is really fun. I mean, for me, he was like another father. He was enjoying his job and teaching me and taking me seriously in what I was learning. So he said, okay, then we'll have to work from now on. And that's what we did.
Awesome. So, can you share a little bit about like how did that journey turn your passion into a career? And I guess how that led you to end up performing around the world.
After music school and after high school, I went to a conservatory. I studied classical guitar. During my studies of classical guitar, I also took up the lute. And I went to another conservatory where I studied lute. So I did two studies. Lute players are pretty rare, and I'm good at what I do. I accompany singers a lot, and so I travel with them around the world. I like to teach, so I do workshops, and I'm interested in history, so I do historical programs where, you know, the Dutch, they have a history of occupying other countries in the 16th or 17th or 18th centuries. And I visited many of those countries with my lute, the period instrument, to make programs with the people from those countries with music from that period. They play their music on their instruments. I play my music on my instrument. And that makes for added value, if you like, or a lot more fun, because I can play my Dutch music on a lute, on a guitar, which is good. And that's okay. But if they play their music on their instruments and then we make music together as if we were 300 years ago, oh, that's a lot of fun. I can learn from them. They can learn from me, and they can learn from their own history as well. And that's how people meet. I mean, over the centuries. So that's what I did in India, in China, and Japan, and that's yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So, yeah, we saw that you spent some time in Japan and you learned how to play the shamisen. So, for those who are not familiar with that, can you describe the instrument a little bit?
I should have taken it out. I didn't. Shamisen is a banjo type of instrument. Another word for shamisen in Japanese is sangen, and san means three, and gen means string. So it's a three-stringed banjo type of instruments. Guitars and lutes, they have frets. A shamisen does not. You can play different styles of music on it, sort of folk music, Japanese folk music, or the tea house music. Girls, the geishas in the tea house, they play shamisen. Or you can play hogaku, it's called Japanese classical music, together with koto, such a big harp-like instrument, and wind instrument. I was in Japan in 2000. In 2000, Japan and Holland celebrated their 400 years relations, business relations. In 1600, the first Dutch ship stranded in Japan, and we became business partners. And I was there in 2000, so 400 years later, as part of cultural exchange. I had to give for a month, and they had to give to me. I had to receive as well. I came with a lute and a guitar, and I brought them music from 400 years ago, and I did workshops with the grown-ups and with the children. We made a musical with the children from the local school. It's in a really small fishing village, a very tight community. And one of the things they gave to me was shamisen lessons, because in the village was an elderly lady, Machira sensei, and she became my teacher for a month. I would go there every morning, and I would sit on the tatami mat and practice my shamisen until my legs, I couldn't feel my legs, so I would roll over. Teacher would laugh and say, now it's time for tea. Well, she didn't speak English well, 3 words, and my Japanese was 3 words, but we could communicate, and that was how I learned to play the shamisen. And after 1 month in Japan, things are slightly different than, well, in Western societies. She was a bit skeptical at first when I came, because, come on, you don't learn Japanese traditional instruments in 1 month. You don't do that. But this was part of the cultural exchange, and her son was in the committee, so she had to do this. She was polite, but reserved. But I practiced a bit beforehand, because again, practice is what you have to do. As a musician, we know we have to study. So I practiced beforehand. I knew how to read. I knew how to tune, and I was prepared. And she saw my preparedness, and she saw that every day I practiced and I come to the lesson next day. I was growing. So I was welcome in their house every day. I could come, just enter the house, and she was ready for the lesson. And then after 1 month, she said to me, well, her son had to do the translating. We had to sit down, cup of tea. And she said to me, you studied, you worked hard, you go back to Holland, but you don't have an instrument. Because I borrowed one of her instruments for the time being. So she said, the shamisen repairman is coming here. I play left-handed and they all play right-handed. So he's fixing one of my instruments for you. She gave to me one of her instruments. And that is, as a teacher to a pupil, like I said, my guitar teacher when I was 11 or 12, he gave to me the gift of music and enjoyment of teaching. And this teacher gave to me an instrument. I mean, that's part of yourself. I don't part with my instrument so easily. I mean, it's a very personal thing. It's like giving away one of your babies. It's like when your daughter grows up and she goes to marry. That's part of life, but it's not easy. So that was a very, very good moment in my life.
Wow, yeah, that sounds incredible. That sounds like an incredible experience. So I guess for anyone out there listening that maybe they haven't quite found this passion like you have, do you know if like you can point to anything that helped you really realize that this was what you wanted to do at such an early age?
I don't think I realized at such an early age. My philosophy of life is that you must do what makes you happy. I think I'm a happy person. Whatever I do, I'm happy. So that's in me. But I started to realize later on and that you can choose. You can choose the things that make you happy, and you should get rid of the things that don't make you happy in your life. I gave you the example beforehand of the television. We all have a television at home and we watch, and these days people do Netflix or whatever it is. I don't do that. I used to have a television, and late at night before going to bed, I would switch on the telly, and we have like 30 channels here, and I would go from channel to channel and I would think, does any of this make me happy? Does any of this make me a better person, a more happy person, a more fulfilled life? No. So I ditched the television. So I ditched many things in my life. And it's the small things in life. I mean, a television or not, it doesn't matter. It's okay. You can have a television if you enjoy that. But if you if you give the value to all the small things in your life that makes you happy or not, and ditch the ones that don't really make you happy, they don't add to your happiness, that have no added value. If you ditch them, you end up with so much space and time in your life to do what really does make you happy.
Yeah, I think that's a great outlook. Yeah. I think that many people may not even realize all the things that they keep around them, material or otherwise, that occupy this space in your mind. For myself, a kind of similar realization like that was so right before I turned 21, I went to go travel, and I ended up being out of the US for about 13 months, traveling the world, going to these different countries. During that period, usually I didn't have a TV. I kind of completely ignored the news and all that. And I already, I guess, thought to myself that news didn't necessarily have too much value to me, as most of what you see on the news is just meant to alarm or stress you out, so you pay attention to it. And I found that when I got back, and even along the process of being in touch with my parents, my family, I didn't really miss anything at all from not watching or listening to the news for that over a year period. And so now I just never pay attention or listen to any news like that.
I think so. But just enough to make sure you vote for the right party when every 4 years, that's all.
Exactly. So today you offer these music lessons both in person and online. Why did you decide to start bringing some of your training online, and how do you structure your lessons?
I teach in person at a music school and at home a little bit, for those who really want. My pupils at music school, I learned, of course, from sheet music, and this is how I get the music to me. Pupils less and less learn from sheet music. Yes, they need it, but they want to hear the song. They don't know the song, they say they cannot play it. So what I start doing to help them is make YouTube videos of the pieces they are playing. I make a lot of arrangements. This is what I enjoy doing. Arrangements of the songs they want to play, often pop songs, lots of classical music, because that's my music. And I play my arrangements for them on YouTube, or from the lesson book. I play the pieces for them on the lesson book. So this is how I started on YouTube, I think something like 10 years ago. And my pupils enjoy this, I hope. Most do. And gradually I found it attracts a lot of attention from other people who study guitar, either with a teacher or without a teacher, because they want to learn the pieces I give to my pupils. They want to play the same thing. They want to learn what I have to teach to my pupils. So gradually I found that I'm not only teaching my own pupils that I see on a weekly basis, or every 2 weeks, but also lots of other people from all over the world that join my classes, if you like, that watch my lessons on YouTube and Instagram these days.
So what would you say that you've done to kind of best ensure that you're creating a good learning experience, like to eliminate maybe, if possible, some of the challenges that come with teaching online versus in person?
it can never replace. The online is an addition to the in-person lessons for me. What I do try to do, because when I just play the arrangements for them, when I play that online, it's not a lesson. It's just showing them how it can be done, how I do it. But it's not a lesson in that sense. I make short lessons, short video lessons, tutorials if you like, with things on screen, fingers on screen, and instruments clearly on screen, playing it slowly, explaining about the fingers and explaining about this hand on the guitar or on the lute. I have another channel specifically for lute lessons. It's called Lute Lessons because that makes sense. And that's popular for lute playing amateurs where teachers are a bit more rare. So on the lute channel, I do more tutorial kind of things because lute amateurs tend to have more trouble finding a real life teacher, while guitar teachers, I mean, there are enough around. If you cannot find a guitar teacher, look again, because I think there are.
So
if you
would
only
you
want to learn
recommend to all of your students then, if they're learning from you online now and they don't have a teacher in person, would you recommend for them to try to also find someone to instruct them in person?
Absolutely. People often ask me online, oh, will you be my teacher? Can I have your lessons? I say, well, find a teacher in your neighborhood because he can hold your hands and put it right, or oh, that finger has to be there and it's like that, and show me the other side of your hand. Online is so troublesome. We had Corona here, as you had over there, and I had to teach on and off 2 years online to my regular students. This was so difficult for me and for them, and I'm glad I didn't have any new students in that period, because if you start out with only online lessons, no, it's a poor world. You have to see each other.
Interesting. So we noticed on your website that people can buy arrangements from you, but we also noticed that you're not asking for like a specific price. Instead, you're telling people they can just choose to send the amount of money that they want. So can you share a little bit about the reasoning behind this choice?
I used to give it away, but I have an accountant who said you shouldn't do that because you get into trouble with the copyright things. So now it's part of my lessons. And I have rich people who buy my lessons, who have enough money. But I have also little kids in Vietnam or Philippines or wherever, and they're not so rich. So if I mean, the usual price for an arrangement on any website is around $5-6, I think. For me, it's a minimum of $2 because I have to pay my taxes and there's some administration involved. And PayPal asks a lot, which is how the world works. So if that minimum is reached for me, and if it's safe tax-wise, then whatever you want to do. If you feel you want to pay €3, $1, or $30, it's up to you. Whatever it makes you happy, you should do. I have my normal income. I do my concerts. I do my teaching. So yes, it adds, it helps this income, but I mean, never do something for the money. If you do something for the money,
I can
you're
tell
not going to
even
make
before we
happy.
started recording, we spoke a little bit, and you mentioned that you're definitely not motivated by the money and how you're motivated about just kind of enjoying what you do. I kind of want to use that to go into the next question where, like, we found you because you're very popular on YouTube and Instagram. I think on Instagram you have over 100,000 followers on your one account. On YouTube, something like 50,000 on your one account. So I'm guessing that this is pretty much the way that most people find you now. Is that correct?
On the internet. Yeah, they find me, whatever, YouTube or Instagram, yeah.
Okay. But so for everyone else listening out there, if you haven't seen David's channel, so what I thought was interesting is I didn't really find too many videos, I don't know if I saw any at all, of you actually talking to the camera. You just turn the camera on and you start playing the arrangement of whatever song you're teaching. And I thought this was really interesting because I do feel that there's creators out there who are thinking about, well, I kind of want to share this thing with people, but I don't feel comfortable in front of the camera. I don't want to make a video. I don't want to talk to people. I just want to do what it is I enjoy. And I feel you're such a great example of that because that's really what you're doing.
I can talk. I make a few videos where I talk. There's some where I do a voiceover, sort of a very elementary guitar lesson where you need some sort of verbal instructions where I explain what I'm doing. I'm sitting down, I'm holding my left hand and my right hand.
Mhm.
So that is a sort of voiceover thing. And occasionally people ask me, how do you make these arrangements? Can you explain to me? And then I talk them through an arrangement. I made a video like that a couple of years ago for a guy in India. I do Bollywood song arrangements. They're quite popular in India and Pakistan. And I made this video for him where I talk through the arrangement. And I thought, I get lots of requests about how do you make your arrangement? So I put that online. But just me talking about, I don't like talking heads on the YouTube or Instagram. When I see them, I switch off. I'm about guitar playing. So if somebody's playing guitar, I want to see that. Or playing lute, I want to see that. But I want to see it. I don't want to see a talking head. I mean,
Yeah, I think I saw
I'm not
you
about
mention
talking.
somewhere that you don't do something just because it's necessarily popular in what people would say for business or to promote yourself. So
No.
yeah, is that how you made that decision to say, well, what I enjoy is watching people just play. So my video, I'm just gonna play and upload it like that.
Yeah, I am happy with a guitar in my hand. So if I can share that happiness, this is what I share. And if people like that, sure, they're welcome. If they want to see talking heads, go elsewhere, which is fine. Yeah.
Awesome. So what would you say to somebody out there who wants to pursue their passion for music and turn it into a source of income or something that they can do just as you are?
Always make the choice that stay close to yourself. So I get lots of these business requests. Can you do this for us? Because you're popular on Instagram, YouTube. Can you please play this instrument or sell these things? That's not me. I'm not selling jewelry or watches. I don't wear a watch. Why do companies want me to sell their watches? That's not me. So always stay close to yourself. Do what you want to do and what makes you happy, and regularly check for yourself. Am I still doing what really makes me happy? And am I still doing what is me and not what is popular? Of course, I can make a silly video and it will be popular. I made a video the other day with theobo. That's like a 2-meter long instrument together with a little baby like this. And it's a lot of fun, but I'm having fun and that's okay. And I guess it's popular, the video, but it's because I'm having fun with it. And that's the point, and not the point, now I'm going to make something that goes viral or whatever the word is. It's not funny.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Focus on doing what you enjoy and what's fun for you, not what um, just other people would consider is oh, this is
No,
something to be popular. Because even what happens if you get popular from that, then what do you do next?
yeah,
It's better to be known for being yourself rather than doing something you don't enjoy.
absolutely. Yeah, do I have to copy my own video, the most popular video? No, I make the next one because I grow. I don't do the same concerts I did 10 years ago. I grow. I hopefully become a better player. So my next video is more fun for me. I do something else. Yeah. If you like it, you're welcome. If you don't, it's okay. There will be another guy or girl who
Awesome.
is more popular.
So what we like to do on this show is have every guest ask a question to our audience. If you could ask our audience anything, what would that be?
Well, if you listen to me, you kind of guessed it. So my question would be, you should ask yourself the question. What are you doing now? Does it make you happy? If not, ditch it.
Awesome. Yeah, great advice. Really interesting. I really enjoy that. I think there's, I guess, a balance for some people. Some people really enjoy a business side of things, and that makes them happy in a way, and that's great.
Absolutely.
But uh, I think you're an excellent example of someone who is truly just doing what they enjoy, and and really putting that above all else. and proving that
Yeah,
you can do that. You can do that, and you can live a happy life doing that.
absolutely. Yeah. I have a friend of mine. He's a bit into advertising, and he tells me all the things I should do to get more money for my business. I'm boring, 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 boring. I'm not doing that. I'm just, yeah. That's what it is.
Great. Well, that is all the questions that I had for you today. But before we get
Lovely.
going, where can people find you online?
Meester David Gitaar, which is Meester David, and Gitaar, which is very awkward for sales outside of Holland, because Meester is spelled in a Dutch way. David is fine enough. Maar Gitaar is not spelled like a guitar in English. But if you type in Master David Guitar, I'm sure you'll end up with me anyway.
And how about your Instagram? What is that?
Meester David Gitaar.
Okay, great. All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, David.
You're welcome, Brian. Nice talking to you.